as we're looking at addition of decimals, it would probably be helpful to think back on the way we handled whole numbers. So that if I had a problem like, say, 156 plus 72, the first thing that we would want to do is to align those numbers. So we would write the 156 on top and the 72 on bottom, and we were being very careful to line up the right hand side so that we have the same place values above and below each other. So now I can add them, and I start with the rightmost place value, which is the 6 and the 2 in this problem. And over to the side, I know that 6 plus 2 equals 8, so the 8 fits nicely right below that. And then I move on to the next place value, and this time I have a 5 and a 7, which gives me a 2-digit number. It gives me a 12. Now I only have room below there for 1 digit, and since we're moving everything from the right to the left, the digit that's going to get placed down here is the one on the right. That's our 2. And then the 1 actually gets carried over to the next place value. So I put a 1 over here. And then when I move to that next place value, I'm going to include that 1. And there was already the other 1 there. So that 1 plus 1 gives me 2. And that gives us our answer, 228. So how is it going to be different if we're looking at decimals? Probably not very much. If I had 2 decimals, let's say 2.58, and I wanted to add to that 16.9, these are both decimals, so whenever I line them up, instead of lining them up by the right hand side, remember the whole idea was to line it up place value by place value, so that when I line these up, I want to align the decimals above and below each other. So that's kind of the same thing as we were doing back here when we were aligning up those decimals that weren't there. If they were decimals, that's where they would be. I want to align them here so that I can add. And when I add these, my decimal is still going to be in that same position. So it's lined up straight up and down. Now, on the previous problem, we started in the rightmost column, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to start all the way out here on the right. I'm adding this column. Since there's nothing to be added to the 8, then 8 plus 0 doesn't change, it's still 8. And I continue to move to the left, the 5 and the 9. When I add the 5 plus the 9, that gives me 14 again, a 2-digit number, but we know we can only put 1 digit below there, so that's where the 4 goes, and the 1 gets carried to the next column over to the left, adding this column with that 1 that I put there previously. I now have 1 plus 2 plus the 6, which gives us 9. Only 1 digit, so that fits nicely right below there. And then keep going to the left. The only digit I have there is the 1, so 1 plus 0 is 1. So our answer here, with the decimal right below where it was before, is 19.48. So let's look at our example problem. One nice thing about it is it's already been lined up. The decimals are taken care of for us. So we can just start on the right hand side, adding up place value by place value. 9 plus 0 gives me 9. The next one, 5 plus 9. That again gives me 14, so the 4 goes down and the 1 goes over. the decimal place gets lined up in the exact same position that it was before. It just comes straight down. And then when I add that last place value, the 1 plus the 2 plus the 4 gives me 7. So that our final answer is 7.49. As long as those decimals are lined up, it works basically the same way as whole numbers, just keeping in mind that the decimal ends up directly below the other decimals that you had lined up.